What's up, good people? It's your boy Ty Will, and we're back at it again with another session based around Men's Mental Health Month for June. I'm going to keep this going past June because I know we need this throughout the year for the rest of our lives and not just one time a month. Today I'm sitting with a good friend of mine from the very same town that I'm from. A-Town, stand up.
Stand up.
A-Town, put some love in the comments if you're watching this. I know my cousin Bam Bam, I know my sister Tamika and all the Broomfield. I know y'all watching this, so share it with some more A-Town fam, man, because we got two of your boys on camera, you heard? So we were talking earlier in the cigar lounge, Tim. Before we get started, introduce yourself, man, to the people.
Yeah, like Ty said, I'm from Allendale, South Carolina. I call it the real A.
Yes, sir.
All right, Tim Bowers, motivational speaker, advocate for youth, and just an individual that want to help and see people achieve the goals and aspirations that they have in their life.
For sure, man,
Yeah.
for sure. And he's doing just that, y'all, like been consistent since I've met him. And it's crazy, we're from the same hometown. I'm a little bit older, but we met here in Columbia. And we're at one of our favorite spots, kind of, down on the sidewalk a little bit, called the Cigar Militia. Shouts out to you, Cigar Militia. Tell us a little bit more about what we were talking about earlier, man, concerning the mentality.
Yeah, so we dived into this whole concept of mindset, and I was sharing with you about like this concept that I have breaking down mentality, right? And I just believe mindset influences decision making. So if you break down mentality, I saw it as 3 stages, right? Because I believe mentality shapes your reality. I don't care what it is that you are trying to achieve. If you take a look at where you are right now, there's a possibility that it's because of your mindset, your mentality, how you think, your attitude, your behaviors each and every day. I like to tell people, when you wake up in the morning, negativity is at the end of your bed, and it's sitting there saying, I'm here, you're here. What are you going to do to combat against what it is that I'm going to put you against throughout this day, right?
Yes, sir.
So when we talk about mentality, we talk about the 3 stages, man, and it's me, men, and mental equals mentality.
Yes, sir. That's
right?
good.
So we would just kind of dove into that and kind of just like broke that down, and we really started with the middle part of men, and I look at that part as your circle of influence, and it really ties into, this month being mental health month, you know what I mean? And just your circle of influence and how you think is really shaping the moves that you're making.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you think is really shaping the moves that you're making. Your mentality creates your reality. You said that as well, man. And we were talking earlier inside, and as y'all seen, I've been doing the clips about just lifestyle journey, really. However, it all relates back to mental health wellness. So we were talking earlier about just how guys don't really have that space. We don't have that space to really be ourselves. We hear this all the time, but we don't have that space. We won't go into the details of everything we talked about.
Right.
Like, not that I'm gatekeeping y'all, but that's just a part of something that possibly will happen. However, if we think about it, when we're going through some stuff, we only focus on the outrage or the lashing out, right? Let me ask this question. This is unrehearsed, but how do you handle like tough situations that challenge you as a man?
Oh man, that's a good question. And I'm not all the way complete in just knowing the actual way to handle the situation. Like, I'm still learning, right? And we all get angry, and I get angry in a sense of especially communication, because, and like we were talking, man, it's tough sometimes when you've been trained and there's a certain way that you communicate. And sometimes you may think like, why others don't get what it is that you're saying. So what we share is that a lot of times when we're communicating, especially as men, we're not listening for
Facts,
real.
facts.
You know what I mean? We are really communicating to respond. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where I hear what you're saying, and there may be a part in what you're saying that I automatically just wanted to respond to, and we're not really taking time to sit and really think about what it is the person on the opposite end of you is really saying. And if we just took the time to really just allow people to talk. When we talk about space, just allow people to get it out, because sometimes people don't really want you to give them advice.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes what I do when I'm communicating with people, male or female, I ask them, do you want me to give you advice, or do you just want to share what it is
Right.
that you're saying?
And have you listening.
And it allows them to be able to give them the space to say, I want advice, or I just want to talk and just share this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think in that, you're giving people the opportunity, you're giving people the control to dictate how the person that's receiving it should respond.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know?
Very well broken down, man. And then to piggyback on that as well, giving people the space to be able to say, okay, well, I feel like you're listening, or I feel like you're interrupting me.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm being heard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk from the man's perspective, specifically when we're talking to a woman. Rather that be our significant other, or just a homegirl or a female that we might just be having a conversation with. It can tend to get debated, or it can tend to get, what's the word I'm looking for? Heated. It can tend to get heated, and that's a sign that somebody ain't listening.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's getting heated and there's no comprehension in place, then somebody might have taken something personal.
Maybe.
Or somebody didn't break it down the right way for everybody to possibly understand while they were listening. Or on another note, it could be whoever's giving the response could be responding from anger. So
Yep.
the way they responded, it could be too logical, and it can come off a little too aggressive for the type of atmosphere you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll fall back on this and say, think about spaces that you can create for men. And I said it earlier, and I said it in a different little clip that I did, but safe people create safe spaces.
Right.
So I'm safe with you. You're safe with me. We ain't never arguing
Right.
because of our tone. For one, because we're men.
Mm-hmm.
We both think logical. However, we do tap into our emotions.
Yeah.
Because we're emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
But the way we communicate says, okay, Tim, if I'm going through something, I'm pretty much gonna let you know, hey, Tim, man, let me get your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
From the top, you're gonna tune in to listen, but I've already given you permission to give me advice at the end.
Ty, so what you're saying is you're giving people what is called open end. So when you said, Tim, what do you think about this? That's not a closed end question or statement.
Right.
What you're telling me is it's open ended, meaning you want me to share with you what my thoughts may be. So just to go back to the whole anger part of how I deal with that is, I process it differently.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a place where there's a conversation that that's uncomfortable for me, I will process it, meaning like I may not say anything in that moment.
Okay.
Right? That's one phase of
Right.
it, right? Some people may call it shut down.
Right.
Right? But for me, I'm processing it because I want to know how to respond to it. Because there have been times where I just hear it and emotionally I'm responding.
Yes, sir.
Not even knowing what this person is actually saying. So number one, I take time to process it, right? And once I process it, I come back to it and say to that individual, hey, this is what I heard. This is what I gathered through this. Can you clarify what it is that you're trying to say before I assume what it is that you're actually saying?
Yes, sir.
And then from there, we can have a conversation, right? But I'm emotional. I'll be honest with you, like a lot of times, things hit me differently, Ty, you know what I'm saying? And like, especially if it's disrespect, because I don't like disrespect, you know what I mean? Because I'm gonna give every man or woman the respect that is due to them,
yes, sir.
right? So I can't sit here and lie and say that I haven't responded in a way where it caused conflict. You know what I'm saying? I'm human at the end of the day. So if I hear something that may trigger or tap me, like I may respond in a way where it's like, yo, I don't like that what you just said. You know what I mean? And like we got to talk about that right here and there. And a lot of times that's really not good. You know what I mean? Because if you're dealing with someone that doesn't understand communication and processing and know how to channel their emotions, conflict could turn into an argument, and that argument could turn into something else. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just about controlling that situation in a way where I don't put myself out of character. So I try not to put myself out of character. So I just, you know, process the situation. I may just walk away from it. You know what I'm saying? Come back to it and speak about it when I'm ready to speak about it. You know what I mean?
I do.
And go from there. But at the end of the day, when I come back to it, I'm coming back to it simply for clarity. Because I don't want no stone unturned, because I don't want to walk away with an assumption of what you said. When we're communicating, get this guys, when you're communicating with someone, you should always approach it that I want to leave this with clarity, especially if it's conflict. The reason why you may leave it and you still anxious, nervous, or you feeling some type of way, because there's no clarity. There's no clarity.
It's explained well, man. I'm gonna ponder on something you said. Something may trigger you based on how it was delivered.
Well,
and you also said, because I want you to live in that moment for a moment, right?
Okay.
You also said, when it triggers you, you got to process. You might shut down because you got to process what they said.
Yep.
But do you process what actually triggered you?
I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I process what's said, and many times I process the triggering part.
Okay.
And for me, self-awareness is really big for me. So in my processing, I'm asking myself, what actually really caused this and made me feel this way?
There you go.
Me personally, like I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where is that coming from? Because once I can identify that, then when I come back to that individual, in my conversation, I'm letting them know, like, this is why this hurt me. This is why this caused this type of reaction from me.
Yeah.
And that's hard, man, for men, because that's vulnerability.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? That's vulnerability, because you got to come to a person and tell them, like, you hurt me because of what you said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it ain't what you say, it's how you said it to me. You know what I mean? And if you just approach it from a standpoint of you have good intentions with coming back to the conversation, then for you, it's going to go over smoothly.
Yeah. That's good, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that, man. And I also want to do this as well. Like, thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
We talked about men not being vulnerable, or maybe not wanting to show their vulnerability. All right. Sometimes it's not that they don't know how to be vulnerable.
Right.
Sometimes it's just they don't want to show it, or they don't have, again, that space that allows them to be vulnerable. So y'all, I'm gonna leave you with this note, and then I'm gonna let Tim leave y'all with a note as well. I said it earlier, safe people create safe spaces. So guys, I got a question for you. What does a safe space look like for you? That's something you can think about, something you can ponder on. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section, or if you want to share this with somebody and get their perspective before you actually comment, do that too. That's totally fine. But just live in that moment. Think about the moment that you need, that you can be yourself, that you can be vulnerable, that you can be heard, that you can be seen, that you can be listened to without any interruption. Yeah, ponder on that, y'all. Tim, leave a last thought.
Man, I just for men as well as females, stay open-minded. Number one, stay open-minded. That's going to help you be able to actively listen to the person that you may have a conflict with, even an argument, or someone you're really trying to get your perspective or let them know exactly what it is that you're trying to get them to know.
Yeah.
Like, just stay open-minded to that. But you also, as an individual, which tames your emotional standpoint, is becoming self-aware, right? Enough to know your triggers, because if you're triggered and you know you're going to respond in a certain way, then you should know what to do in those particular moments, meaning that you may tell them, hey, this conversation I'm gonna need to come back to.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I'm gonna need to come back to. You don't need to go into the whole explanation. Hey, listen, I hear what you're saying, and at this moment in time, I want to come back to it so I can better communicate and we can find a resolve with this, right? Or I can find a better way to explain it, because if I share it right now, it's going to come out wrong.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to be self-aware within yourself to know that that's something you're willing to communicate. Because that part of it, I believe, we leave out. And we just think, hey, I'm just going to share with you exactly how I feel. And not knowing, even in sharing that and talking with that person, if they're not aware of those triggers, then they can say something else that may trigger you.
Yeah.
All right. So the third thing is I just believe, like, communicate with a good intention. No, that's easier said than done, because in the heat of things happen.
Yes, sir.
Right? But still, at the core of it, communicate with good intentions, with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your homie. Have good intentions. So that can be within your posture, your disposition, your tonality, what you're actually saying. Be conscious, be intentional about it, so it doesn't come off as if you want this conflict to continue to keep going. Mm-hmm. Like you actually want to find a resolve, right? So just communicate with good intention. So again, guys, just stay open-minded. Have that self-awareness, and just communicate with good intention. If you got that, man, I think that's a good ground point for you to resolve conflict and communicate in a way where you leave that feeling good about that situation, enough to know that you didn't cause any harm.
That's good, man. I like that.
Yeah.
What I took away from what you said is, just for the audience, take a moment to process. Don't be afraid to take a moment to process something, because let's just say someone is needing a response right now.
Oh, that's good. Come on now.
It's 6:56 p.m.
Been there.
You've been at work all day, 9 to 5. You might not have had a chance to explain how your day was. So you might have to put that to the side and put this person's priority as your priority for a moment. But sometimes you may say, okay, instead of me putting yours as a priority, can I get a moment to process that? And what you're saying to yourself is, I hear you, I want to respond to it, I'm going to respond to it, but let me go ahead and wash this off.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and wash the boss getting on my ass off.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and wash, my bank account being deducted for some stupid reasons from Apple.
Yeah. Come on, Apple.
Let me wash that off real quick.
Whew.
Process what you said, then I can still be present for you. Take a moment to process.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.